Hi, it's Keith from Home Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to go through 15 vitamin D health benefits. So starting with number 1, it boosts our immune system, so any chance that we get to do that is always a good thing. Try and keep those viruses at bay. Number 2, healthy strong bones. It's going to help us keep our bones nice and strong. Number 3, it increases muscle strength. So if you're into sort of like weight training and things like that, vitamin D helps to support the muscle strength, helps to improve your workout, so that's a great thing to have. Number 4, maintains a healthy heart. If it's going to help your heart, that can only be a good thing. Number 5, it improves sleep quality. Sleep quality is a really good thing to have because a lot of people can be deficient in their sleep, and that has a lot of knock-on sort of side effects as well, like things to do with our hormones and basically our cognitive function. We end up getting things like brain fog and things like that. It can also lead to diseases. The more you miss out on sleep, it can lead to poor health and stress in so many different ways. So that's a great thing that it would do to improve our sleep quality. So number 6, again with that muscle building, it helps in the testosterone production. So if we're trying to build muscle, that's exactly what we want, especially when we're trying to add on muscle mass. Okay, on to number 7, it improves our mood and regulates insulin. That's a good thing. It helps to improve our mood, much like training itself, like releases the endorphins in the brain and things like that. So anything that can help lift our mood and reduce our stress levels is always a good thing. And as far as the fact that it regulates insulin, that's good because it helps to keep the blood sugar stable and just consistent as we're going through the day instead of like the big spikes up and down. So on to number 8, it lowers the risk of cancer and type 2 diabetes. Lowering the risk of cancer, well, anything that does that has got to be a massive bonus. So as we know, cancer is one of the biggest killers out there. So if we can do anything to prevent that, then that's always a great thing. Number 9, it reduces inflammation. I have arthritis myself, so that's always going to be a good thing. And anybody though that sort of suffers with inflammation, that's not just in the joints, that can also be in your gut. So things for like your gut health, it's always going to be a good thing there. So on to number 10 is brain health and function. It's always going to be a good thing. Try and stop any memory loss and degenerative diseases which can come from a lack of vitamin D. On to number 11, it lowers high blood pressure. So for people who do suffer with their blood pressure, it's a really good one to try and get via foods. I am going to go through that later. So on to number 12, it helps with weight loss. So for those of you who are trying to lose weight and trying to lose body fat, it's a good thing to have. Vitamin D will help you with that. So on to number 13, it lowers stress and fights depression. So anything that can reduce our stress at the end of the day is always going to be a good thing. Yes, there is such a good thing as good stress, where we're trying to stress our body to then grow and get it to respond in certain ways. So certain stresses for both mental and physical is what we need. But you can have too much stress, as we all know, and we all like lead busy lives with families and things like that. So anytime we can sort of de-stress or have something to help lower the stress levels is always a good thing. So on to number 14, it reduces the risk of flu and other respiratory infections. You can have things like the flu jab, like some people do, but having vitamin D and making sure your levels are optimal, then that can also help to sort of like keep those viruses at bay. Going on to number 15, it lowers the risk of osteoporosis and multiple sclerosis. These are like bone wasting diseases and like muscle degenerative diseases and things like that. So this, as we get older, thinking about it now before you're getting into your old age, it's a good way to try and prevent that. So it doesn't mean it can stop it completely from happening, but if we can do anything to try and prevent something like that from happening, then why not do it? So now we're done with the benefits, let's move on to the deficiency symptoms. So number 1 I got here is weak bones and possible fractures. So if our bones are not getting enough vitamin D, it can weaken the bone and lead to fractures. Obviously they're not going to be as strong, so more likely to break. So that's what we want to avoid. Number 2, fatigue. Why am I so tired all the time? It could be something as simple as the fact that you're lacking in vitamin D. On to number 3, depression and mood swings. So they kind of tie in together, of course. So if you're depressed, you're more likely to have mood swings. So if we can help that in any way, then that's great, because we've got to look after our mental health. On to number 4, joint pain. If you're somebody who suffers like I do with arthritis, then vitamin D would be a good thing to try and make sure that you've got an abundant supply of vitamin D in your body. So number 5, we got poor sleep. That's never going to be a great thing to have, so it just makes the day drag along. You feel shattered to do anything. It's all going to tie into each other with the fatigue. If you are depressed, you're going to feel even more depressed because you're just so tired. You feel like you're dragging your heels, then you ain't got the energy for your workouts, ain't got the energy to work, and poor sleep, mental health and physical health can really sort of like go downhill if you're not getting enough sleep. A lot of people try and shortchange themselves on sleep, but if you're trying to make gains in the gym and then you're just lacking in sleep all the time, then that is always going to go against you. So you're never going to feel as strong, you're never going to feel as ready for your workouts, you're never going to feel as energized as you would do and pumped up and ready to go. If this vitamin can aid you get great sleep, then why would you not try and search it out and try and get it from the sources that you can get it from? Number 6, weak muscles. Again, that's tying into doing your training and things like that, but not just that, also just daily life. So some people, as they're getting a lot older later on in life, it's even things just like lifting a kettle and things like that. Getting up from a seated position, everything is just that much more effort because your muscles are feeling weak and drained and fatigued, and you just don't feel like you can do anything. So we want to avoid that if we can. So on to number 7, we've got high blood pressure. So if you're finding your blood pressure's high and your doctor's maybe sort of like searching for maybe reasons why, this could be it. You could just be lacking in vitamin D. On to number 8, hair loss. So any way that you can aid in sort of like reducing the amount of hair loss, then great. But again, that can come with age, and that can be something as well to do with genetics. If you're starting to see like hair around a lot more than you would have done, or there's a lot more coming out in your brush, or as you're washing your hair and you just see a lot more coming out than usual, then again, you could be lacking in this vitamin. So on to number 9, we have cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease, that's problems obviously with your heart. If you can have this vitamin D, and this vitamin D helps to stop you getting cardiovascular disease, why would you not take it? So going on to number 10, we've now got digestive system issues. So if you're somebody who sort of struggles with your food, your digestion, this is something that can help you with your digestive tract to help it do everything that it needs to do. So on to number 11, weak immune system. Just going to be more open to viruses, the common cold, flu. So number 12, we have excessive sweating. So if you're somebody who sweats a heck of a lot, and you're thinking, why am I always sweating like this? This is ridiculous. This could be one of the reasons why. Yes, there's many other reasons why you could have excessive sweating, but this could also be deficient in vitamin D. So at number 13, we have weight gain. If you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, that's the last thing you want. So again, if you're struggling to lose that weight, then this could be a reason why. On to number 14, slow healing of wounds. Sometimes you can get just normal like cuts, and they're taking a lot longer than usual to heal. That could be one of the deficiency symptoms, so that's another one to look out for. And at number 15, we got brain fog and memory loss. If you're suffering with that sort of on a daily basis, a lot of the time you're thinking, I'm forgetting things so much more than I used to. Why is this happening? Why is my brain not functioning? Why aren't I switched on? That can be a reason. It could just be something as simple as the fact that you're just not having enough vitamin D. So now we've looked at 15 benefits and 15 deficiency symptoms. Now we want to know what the source is and what are the best sources of vitamin D. So number 1 is natural. Just get out in the sun, get out in that sunlight, expose yourself. It's good for the brain, it's good for our mood, but it also helps in giving us the vitamin D that we need. So it's a good natural way of getting it without trying to get it through foods or anything else. As we get into like the winter, like we do here in the UK, we haven't always got like this really great sunlight, but even just getting out and getting some light exposure, you're going to be getting some vitamin D. Just get out in that sunlight and get yourselves a few rays if you can get it. Number 2, egg yolks. So I like the whole egg myself. I know some people just like the egg whites. A lot of bodybuilders, especially if they're into competition or they're trying to just get really lean for whatever reason, I know a lot of people just have egg whites on their own, but you are throwing away a lot of healthy nutrients, vitamins and minerals by getting rid of the yolk. Because one thing you do need to remember about vitamin D is it's a fat-soluble vitamin. Fat-soluble meaning you need the presence of fat to absorb those vitamins. So vitamins A, D, E and K are fat-soluble, and they're all contained in the egg. Eggs are a brilliant source of protein as well, which helps to aid build muscle. It's just a great food. It's a real powerhouse of a food. So just remember, like I just said, you do need the presence of fat in order to absorb the vitamin D. So you could go taking a vitamin D supplement, but the problem is if you're taking that without any presence of fat, then you could just be wasting it. You're just pretty much throwing your money away because you're not absorbing it. It has to have the presence of fat. It's fat soluble, so remember that. So on to number 3, salmon. Salmon's a fatty, oily fish, so if we can get some of that in our diet, then that's always great. We're always going to have a great source of vitamin D there. Sardines at number 4, mackerel at number 5, and then tuna. But although tuna is on the leaner side and it doesn't contain as much fat, you still got the vitamin D. Going on to number 7, there's a few here. So vitamin D, fortified foods. So vitamin D is added to these foods, and that's in milk, cereal, yogurt, cheese, and orange juice. You can look if it says on the label fortified with vitamin D, so that's what you got to look out for. Going on to number 8, mushrooms. It's one that you may not think that may contain sort of vitamin D, but it's a very good one to have. Number 9 there, cod liver oil. So that's a supplementation one. That's going to help also with the bones and also with the immune system. So cod liver oil is always a good one to have. 10 there is spinach. Maybe Popeye was right. That's why he had giant forearms, but spinach is another good one that you can have. So I have got a bonus here. A good vitamin D supplement if needed. If your GP or physician has said you are lacking in vitamin D, it would be a good idea to supplement with vitamin D. Then find yourself a decent one. There are some around which are not quite as good quality as others. I'm just going to lift up the one that I've got here myself. So this one here is 4000 IU, so it's a very high strength, as you can see there. Basically it's just one a day, and that's a full year supply there, 365 capsules. It's always good to check. Sometimes you're better to pay that little bit extra and get something that's decent instead of just any old garbage that we can put in our system. This is our body. This is what we've got to carry us through life, so we want to look after it, take the best things that we can for it. So it's just another way that you can get it. If you're struggling to get it through your foods, you don't really get much sunlight, because some people in certain parts of the world definitely don't get anywhere near enough sunlight. That's the way that you can get it in. I actually had a good look around on Amazon and basically on the internet, and I found that this one, and it tended to have a lot of good reviews, so that's the one I went with. Try not to overdose on anything, even as much as just like a vitamin D. If you haven't done so already, then please do subscribe. I would really appreciate the support. To make this whole process worthwhile, it takes time to create the content and to get it out there for all of you. If you really do get value out of this, then please do, like I said, subscribe, hit the like, and I'll see you in the next video.